Homelessness is sweeping the nation, with more and more folks filling up the homeless shelters and emptying out the food banks. People are being turned away to sleep in the cold weather, freezing cold temperatures. And while Gen Z just can't seem to afford to leave the nest, boomers seem to be in just about the same amount of trouble. Well, Social Security is barely keeping the nest afloat. And we're going to discuss all that today in this video, and if you personally feel like you relate to anything talked about in this video, or you just like content like this, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily or bi-weekly uploads around here, where I talk about topics like this, and different things I feel like should be discussed more often in society. And a huge shout out to everybody who supports me on Patreon, my channel memberships, and everybody else who supports me around here. You can check out those links below and see different perks for those. Now let's begin today's video.
So give us an update.
It's after 11 p.m. Kevin and I have been walking around directing our friends with a van to gather people who need access to warming shelters. But a lot of the places are full now, so there's people without beds who are just kind of hanging out outside.
Yeah, literally.
Think about that. People are hanging out outside the homeless shelter. They don't even have enough room to let them sleep on the floor or in the hallway or in the front entryway. It's getting ridiculous out here.
Shelter on the corner, there's about 5 homeless people that said we can't get inside because it's completely full.
That's right.
And they're just planning on hunkering down right there tonight.
Yeah, and we just saw...
It gets cold in some of these states. Where I'm at right now, up in the Midwest, it gets -10 at nighttime. So it feels worse than that with the wind chill and all that. So it actually is a dire situation to not have somewhere to sleep, especially in this type of season.
A couple in wheelchairs that got turned away from a couple different places, and so they're trying to sort their things out.
We did find other openings. We just transported 2 homeless people with our friends to another shelter, and we're going to keep doing that right now.
Yep.
And it's nice there's people out here like this going out and about trying to help people out like this, because even with all the systems, all these different, societal, help that we try to get with like the homeless shelters, the food shelf, all this, as many taxes as we pay, it still seems to never really be enough. And then when people do need help, and when they are in these dire situations where they need a place to stay or they need an extra bit of food in their belly, or even for their kids, there's never enough to go around. And even so, imagine if everybody's in this situation and more people are struggling, just doing what they got to do.
We're just walking around trying to find people who need help, working with Echelon security as well.
And starting to snow again.
It's snowing again. It's been freezing, raining, and now it's snowing, so it's a recipe for disaster, I think.
All right, we'll update soon. We're going to be out here all night.
That's the thing. Imagine, see, when you're homeless, you probably don't have many sources of transportation. You're taking the bus, you're walking around, you're like pretty much just hitching rides, like you're a hitchhiker, even in the cities. But at the same time, you still don't really have much access to that, because the bus costs money. People always ask for gas, and everything costs money. Especially in the cities, things are a little bit overpriced because the cost of living is higher. So imagine going around to 2-3 different facilities, homeless shelters, and they all turn you down. I might just hunker down outside the homeless shelter and wait for someone to leave so I can go in there and get warm a bit, if you even last that long. It's getting rough out here for a lot of folks, and I feel really sorry for people who are in this situation. I'm not homeless, but I'm borderline couch surfing, so I understand what it's like not have a solid place to stay or not feel like home.
Hi, sir. I saw that you looked hungry. I just wanted to give you some food.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is modern day homelessness. This is 2023, but I think it's gotten even worse in the 2025.
Okay, see, I'm not really like buying how happy you are.
Okay,
So
well, I'm very grateful and I'm hungry, so.
no, I get that, but the camera's not getting it, so I just need you to just one more time. Let's do take 2, okay?
You take the food
2.
back.
Here we go. And hi, sir. I saw that you looked hungry. I just wanted to give you some food.
Oh, thank you so much.
Dude, that was it. We got it. We got it.
Okay.
Great work.
As disgusting as this video is, we know this is like the most common, the most viewed videos online right now is people like this. And to be honest, as long as people are getting helped out, I do understand it. But I personally always felt it to myself. If I was down bad enough where I was in the street, if I ever had to wave a sign, wave a little cardboard sign with like a funny joke to get some extra few cents, I would be very embarrassed to have my face blast all over social media for millions of people to see, probably in my own hometown, So I don't know if they do get consent from all these folks beforehand. I feel like a lot of them probably don't, because let's be honest, they are in public, and you can necessarily record people in public. So it's not necessarily illegal what they're doing, but I don't think it's necessarily the best morality, even though a lot of them do help out a lot compared to what probably a lot of these people get helped out with usually. So it's kind of a positive negative type of situation here.
All right.
Oh, But I get that. All right, you have a good rest of your day.
Okay.
Ouch. But that's pretty realistic, ain't it?
This message is for Gen X parents, caretakers who happen to have Gen Z kids
Listen up.
and are wondering when they're going to move out. Listen, they might not leave for a very long time.
They might never
The fact
leave.
is that Gen Z kid, a third of them are currently still living at home, and for good reason. It's very difficult to pay rent.
And yeah, if they didn't, if you guys have not been living at home, you're going to be seeing more and more people move back home, move back in with family. I personally have been living with family for almost over a year now, multiple different family members, because you know how hard it is to live with family. But if a lot of times you got to make it work, which you can do, because saving any sort of buck out here, especially housing costs, especially inflation, whether that's food or whatever, if you can eat together and share meals, it is a really good way to get ahead right now, because it's getting worse and worse out here with the financial crisis.
A car, electric bill, cable bill, internet bill, having Netflix. It's a lot of bills that come.
All right, I'm sorry to always pause, but I don't. Just like I mentioned one of the last videos about how people always need to have a nice car. I don't understand why Netflix or some of these entertainment type of bills are always a necessity. They're not mandatory. You can have a season, a few months without a little bit of entertainment. It sucks. No one wants it, and you're always gonna be getting advertisements no matter what you're doing, because you have to be online in some sense, one way or another, whether it's at your job or just to live. And you're gonna be seeing it's gonna be hard not to get some entertainment. But if you need to get ahead, you don't need Netflix for a season. You don't need to eat out. Even though, like, let's be honest, it can almost be cheaper to eat out depending on what you do than making food and cooking at home. But to each their own. It depends on where. I think it always comes down to where you're located, because the cost of living is the number one thing people need to focus on.
And their pay is just not paying. It is very difficult to pay for an apartment that used to be easily able to afford about 20 years ago, and now their pay is not stretching. So, like I said, a third of those kids are staying home.
Do you think we'll
Times have changed, folks. Times are changing still.
see the end to homelessness in our lifetime?
Never. The society we live in, whether it's America or overseas, homelessness is a problem. And people who say they care don't really care. I've been homeless for 8 years now. I've been living in this park for 8 years. And the only people who honestly care about me are the other homeless people. I talk to every single person in this park every day about my homelessness and about homelessness in general. I don't want people's money. I don't want people's food or drinks. I just want people to be aware that, at the blink of an eye, at the drop of a dime, anyone could be homeless in a matter of, whatever.
It really only takes you to quit your job, and go 3 months without some sort of main source income. How long could you really last if, let's say, you lost your job today, or you lost whatever main source incomes you have coming in? Many people don't have savings like that. Over 50% of America can't really even afford a $1,000 kind of like random expense. I personally couldn't, not right now in my current situation in my life right now. Now, I am only 25, and I do realize that in your 20s you're supposed to be struggling somewhat, or trying to get it together, figure it out. But even people younger or older, a lot of people, especially Americans, couldn't even afford $1,000 expense. So it really is. We are all really only a few months away from being in the same position as a lot of these folks we see on some of these videos that we cover on this channel. That's why I find it so important, because a lot of people don't think about that. It's also hard to really put as much as we want to talk about it, as much as all the Disney movies and cartoon shows try to put in our heads. It's very hard for some people to put themselves in other people's shoes. So bringing this up, putting it on the top of your mind, not always, but sometimes, it can be important, I feel like.
I became homeless because of a choice. I was tired of being in a group home institution, taking medication every day, So I said to myself on January 1st, 2014, I decided to be a free man.
When you're truly
Homelessness equals freedom. Listen up. Let's think about this.
homeless, everything becomes free. You don't have money. And when you don't have money, you can't buy things. That means everything you get is free. The last time I spent money was like a couple days ago on some alcohol. Other than that, everything I get is free.
The last time I spent money was a couple days ago on alcohol. Why does that seem to be fitting? And I'm not even trying to put a bias on homeless people, because, like I said, I'm borderline couch surfing, so you could clarify me homeless. I don't have a home, per se. But I do necessarily find it pretty funny how there's so many videos, especially younger folk, who decide to live in their cars, live even on the streets in boxes. They say they have so much freedom when they give everything up. And to be honest, it might feel that way for a little bit, because you're not working in the system. You feel like you're in your own way. But no matter what, and whether that's buying things, paying taxes, working a job, paying taxes, whether that's any sort of reality sense, you are going to be in the system one way or another. And you're going to have to figure that sort of thing out. Now, how how comfortable can you be? How little of comfort can you have in your life for you to be personally comfortable? Comfort isn't, healthy foods, more expensive foods, a nice shelter, shower where you're located, washer dryer where you're located, not to worry about any sort of weather conditions, no matter what the season, or even just some sort of vehicle transportation, whether you like being in the cities, whether you like being in the country, and like even in my state up here in the Midwest, people always say you should move out to the country because it's cheaper living, but then you're pretty much paying up that differ with gas and transportation costs and all that. So it really just all comes to push to shove what you feel comfortable with. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, opinions. Because have you guys ever been in a situation where you're couch surfing, you're homeless? What are your guys' opinions on people who are in this situation? And do you feel for them, or do you feel like it's a lot of people who are there? It's their fault. You also hear that all online from like the negative crowd, but like if you do ask a lot of people do say they have made certain choices and decisions in their life that might have led them there. But I also don't think anybody deserves to be on the streets or not be fed. So, and I also don't think everybody should just be given everything because who's going to pay for that as well? We can't just keep printing stuff. We all found out what it's like. We just print money. Eventually, we all gotta pay it back. Either way, I appreciate you guys' love and support over here. Feel free to check out my Patreon and my channel memberships down below in the description. Those links will be down there. You can DM me personally on my Patreon, and you can see these videos early before they release to the public with my channel memberships. And I appreciate you guys who do support over here. I really rock with y'all the same way y'all rock with me, and I will see you in the next one.